Hello beautiful people, it's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking this video and it's titled They Don't Trust Harry Anymore. Piers Morgan on impact of Harry and Meghan's documentaries. Interesting, so today we're going to be checking this video to hear what I gotta say. Let's check it out.
Well, joining me now is author and historian Tessa Dunlop, by the author of the Palace Papers, Tina Brown in America, and by royal historian and author of the new book, After Elizabeth, Can the Monarchy Save Itself? Ed Owens. Welcome to all three of you. Tina, let me start with you. Very much the queen of royal experts, in my opinion. So what is the queen of royal experts' view as we, incredibly, it's a year tomorrow. I can remember every moment of that day. But it's a year tomorrow that we lost Elizabeth II. I do feel a lot of the magic died with the Queen of the monarchy. What do they do about this?
Well, I actually think that Charles has actually gripped it in a way that's very surprising, actually. I wouldn't really agree that it's all gone away and all drained away. I think that, in a strange way, the chaos that you vividly describe at the top of the show has actually made Charles look a lot better. He's suddenly the great statesman on the world stage. He's the most august statesman that England can really put out there. He's become a huge national asset. And he really hasn't put a foot wrong in the last year.
I agree.
And that has actually, I think, sort of surprised everybody. So that's good. And you've got the sparkle coming out of Kate and William. So I think there's not a bad double act of Charles being the kind of august grandfather of the country and sparkle from William and Kate.
Here's the problem.
I don't think it's quite as dire.
Well, here's why I think it may be a little more dire than you think. It may be not as dire as the picture I painted. I'm certainly a massive fan of King Charles and Queen Camilla. I think they're fantastic and done a great job, I think, stabilising things after what was a very unstable period. But young people in particular, according to all the polls at the moment, 37% of 18 to 24-year-olds want the monarchy to continue. 40% want an elected head of state. Only 30% think the royal family is good value for money. These are worrying numbers for the royals. And it seems to me that when I talk to young people, they all had great reverence and, I think, interest in the Queen, but they're not so reverential or interested in the others at the moment. It's not irretrievable, but at the moment, I think there's a kind of malaise.
Well, I have to say that if you'd asked people, young people in the 1960s, if they had a great reverence for the Queen, they would have absolutely thought she was a complete bore. I mean, when you had all those irreverent shows like That Was the Week That Was, that was a period where the Queen was very much out of fashion. She was considered irrelevant. I don't think that if you had polling at that time with all the young people at that moment, they would have particularly thought the Queen was this fabulous icon that she became. In a strange way, the last 20 years of the Queen's life sort of was the most iconic time for her. I would actually argue that Stephen Frears' film The Queen, with Helen Mirren, was a beginning of a kind of pop culture embrace of the Queen, where she went from being someone irrelevant to young people to suddenly being almost like a sort of hip pop culture icon. And you had the thing with her wonderful appearance at the Olympics, and then she was with Paddington Bear, and all of a sudden the Queen was kind of co-opted by pop culture, and she, in her brilliant way, embraced it. But I'm not sure that you would have found young people thinking she was so fabulous when she was in her 50s.
Interesting point. All right, Tessa, you've been gagging to get in here.
As always.
I mean, I think there are a lot of distractions going on at the moment. You've got the Harry and Meghan thing. You've got the Prince Andrew scandal still bubbling away. We're apparently not going to see the files on him now for some huge amount of time for reasons that completely baffle me. You've got problems, I think, for Charles in what kind of monarchy he wants to present to the world. What's he going to change? And you've got William and Kate, who I think are doing a great job. But
come on, Piers.
The numbers...
Even you agreed with me that there was a ball drop around the Women's World Cup.
That was a mistake.
A clear way he could have got some headway with young people.
William should have... Listen, I've made it very clear. William should have got on the first plane out to that World Cup final and watched the Lionesses. He's a president of the FA, for goodness sake. It was ridiculous.
But actually, that spoke to a deeper stubbornness and, dare I say it, entitlement. And you put, once again, if I may, you put all the blame on little, pretty irrelevant in some respects, Harry, when if...
What, I put all the blame on him?
But that thesis at the top, and I took notes on it.
I took
extensive notes.
I put a lot of blame on those
A lot
two,
of blame.
because they're the only two members of the royal family who have done what they've been doing.
But I'm sure, Ed, your academic will agree with me that the broad-shouldered, it should be anyway, the broad-shouldered institution of monarchy, that has to be where change comes from. Whether it is the redemptive olive branch offered to Harry, it needs to come from his father, from his brother, who are part of an institution of state, not from a prince who wears a beanie and goes around, you know, Europe doing well-meaning charity gigs. No, it needs to come from the institution of monarchy, and actually deeper change. You mentioned there transparency, access to files, freedom of information. That needs to come from the monarchy. They need to lead. You're right. Call out the politicians. They're rotten. We need to see leadership from Charles.
Ed, you wrote a piece about all this, pretty much affirming that there is a rut in the royal family. Like I said, I don't think it's irretrievable, but I do sense it. I do sense there's been a kind of downturn, if you like. But we've been through these before and they've bounced back. But where do you think we are with the royal family and the institution of the monarchy? And do you see a way that they can get things back on track?
Well, actually, Piers, I think you're right. There is something of a rut here. And I have to briefly and respectfully take issue with something that Tina said before. The opinion polls in the 1960s that were taken, there weren't many of them, but when young people were asked, more than 60% said that the Queen represented the best of British. And I think that was really significant. You know, we've only got to go back 10 years to 2013, and 72% of young people were saying that the monarchy would continue, that they supported it, and that it was here to stay. Fast forward 10 years, and things have definitely changed. And I think the news and hubbub around Andrew and more recently Harry and Meghan are partly to do with it. But I think there's something bigger here as well. I think there is a significant generational divide over the monarchy, just as there is a significant general divide in society more generally regarding the state of the nation. Young people, under 45s especially, and most acutely the under 25s, are totally disenchanted with the state of modern Britain. And I think the monarchy as a symbol at the heart of the country is taking a lot of flack.
Yeah, I think...
True. Because obviously, when you look at it, amongst all the royal family is one of the very few and very popular amongst most of the majority of the royal family that we know, or other countries that still practice the monarchy. I mean, are there that still practice monarchy. There are not very many of them, but at the same time, the royal family is something that sets Britain apart, in the sense that they have lots more history to keep, to preserve in Britain. And it is outstanding, regardless of how people want to see. And yeah, when you look at it, young people, do you think they're wrong for the polls or whatever? In my view, I don't think they're wrong, because I mean, based on what they hear or what they've been told, some people believe some events or some stories. And sometimes people, when they are told some stories or historical stories, they are fed or told some narrative that are beneficial to what they want to push and the likes and all. But do you think Britain should no longer have the monarchy? For me, I don't think they should. I think the monarchy should continue and should be preserved regardless. But let me know what you think, because obviously, yeah, just like what you said, the society itself is trying to create some divide using this medium, or create some divide as well. So it is not even uncommon to see. But let's go on.
Of flack.
Yeah, I think that's right. Tina, Harry and Meghan, I don't particularly like talking about them anymore. I think it's become it's just a relentless kind of Groundhog Day thing, really. They want attention. They want to make money out of their royal titles. Every time they rear their heads to do it, everyone I hear goes nuts, including me, and then we carry on, repeat cycle. What is going on with them in America, though? I mean, what is their reputation like there now? How relevant are they? We're hearing that Meghan's planning her big comeback, etc., etc. But where are they over there?
Okay, well, first of all, just to say to Tessa's point, I completely agree about William blowing it with the Lionesses, but that's where I missed Harry, actually. That's where they missed Harry.
You're
Because,
absolutely right,
if Harry'd been part of the mix, Harry could have gone to the Lionesses. Wouldn't he have been fabulous? Let's face it. Whatever you think about Harry,
okay, I
he
would
would have
say,
been fabulous.
to that, why didn't he?
Exactly. Why didn't
That would have been really callous.
Well, I think
Sorry,
to undercut his brother.
Nothing,
like that, Piers.
nothing was stopping him getting on a plane if he wanted to, and he didn't. So he could have done.
But he wasn't the president
so,
of the
but he
FA.
probably
That's
thought-
offside.
No,
that
William.
that is offside. That
William
comment.
should have gone as president of the FA. That was his duty to do that, and it was a very rare, very bad misstep by him to not do that. And it also, actually, if you're a woman player for the England team, I mean, how fast would he have got on a plane if that had been the England men's team in the World Cup final? He'd have been like a greyhound on speed. So, but Harry could have gone if he wanted to, and he didn't. But anyway, back to the bigger picture of Harry and Meghan in America. Is this
the
brand
bigger picture,
working?
Well, I tell you what is interesting is the fact that Meghan's old show, 12 years old, Suits, is actually the #1 show at the moment in America. Nobody understands why. Somebody posted a meme on TikTok and the whole thing exploded. And suddenly Suits, this old show, is the best viewed show
For how
on
many
Netflix
parts did she
worldwide.
take in?
Go figure, nobody knows. And it's not really thought it's necessarily anything to do with Meghan, but it is an interesting thing.
Well, it's actually a very,
I've
I've got to
been
say,
watching
it's a
because of
very
her.
good show. I really liked Suits. So it doesn't surprise me.
I thought it was great, but why it's suddenly been dug out of the sort of
I know, it's
TikTok
weird,
morgue,
it's weird,
I don't know.
But it's not weird, is it?
It's
It's because
very
they've got the X factor, which is why we find it painful when they left. It was so painful.
Well, it may, as
They were
Tina
the
said,
biggest-
it's not necessarily because of Meghan Markle. But let me
Exactly.
continue to the wider point about how popular they are. What do you think?
anyhow, The wider point is, well, just to say, though, that in that instance, Hollywood agents I speak to kind of say, actually, the weird thing is if Meghan wanted to go and make an acting deal right now, she could probably crush it and get a great acting deal. But I don't think that's what she's looking for because acting is now way too much hard work. Basically, they're a non-factor here, actually. I mean, in Hollywood, nobody talks about them at all, I'm told. That they're just, the whole celebrity canvas is so much bigger, wider and hotter. They're not really a factor. They're just minors who show up at celebrity events and so on. So there's nothing really going on with their brand here. And I think that they've really got to figure out, obviously they have taken advice finally and gone quiet, which is exactly what they should have done. Like, shut up, like, go away. And they have gone away for the entire summer. But they've got to figure out what Archewell is. Like, what's it for? What is it actually for? They haven't raised very much money with it, to be honest. I mean, I think it's $12 or $13 million or something. You'd think by now it would be $100 million foundation.
The problem they've got,
it is
Tina,
really
the problem
not
they've
raising
got,
money.
The problem they've got is they actually, the only currency they have so far that has proved remotely interesting to the public is when they're trashing their families.
Exactly.
And I find that pathetic and sad. And it's caused unbelievable rifts, not just with his family, with her family. The poor father sitting there 50 miles away has never met his grandchildren. He's never met the person that married his daughter, despite bringing up Meghan on his own for years. All of it is just incredibly, on a human family level, incredibly sad. And they keep talking about how happy they are over there. How happy could anybody be if you're estranged from both of your
Size
families?
of your family,
I just don't
exactly.
know.
But what you've
How can you be happy?
there is their vulnerability, and I agree, there is a vulnerability because they're outside the institution. But I don't know what Ed and Tina feel about this, but that's why I believe that the rapprochement, the olive leaf, the move towards making, they're never going to be a happy family again, but some kind of redemptive move, it has to come from the king.
No, but hang on. He's made efforts to do this. The problem is they don't trust Harry anymore.
Exactly,
They
who
believe
would
he's going
trust
to be
him?
taping them, recording them, making notes, doing stuff for future
But if you
deals.
say something kind and loving, does it matter if you're taped?
He's
Like my
imagine?
son.
I am
Can
told.
you imagine?
I am told Charles has tried multiple times to do this, but Harry wants them to apologise to him for the damage he's been wreaking on the royal family
Because
and
the problem
monarchy.
is young people saw some kind of hope.
Let's
What is she
face it,
saying?
though. I mean, it is not in Meghan's interest to have a rapprochement between Harry and his family. That's why I don't think it'll happen. Because Meghan does not want to live in England ever again.
Nope.
She feels that England was just, rejected her. She rejects it.
But she married
She
Dia.
finds it cold, boring, nothing for her.
Boring, but she
loves her, the Hollywood
He apparently
scene.
said
That's
tonight.
where she wants to be.
Yeah, he apparently said tonight in his speech at this charity event that his wife was really sorry she couldn't be there. That's complete nonsense. She's not sorry she can't be there. She was at 2 Beyonce concerts last week. If she wanted to be there, she'd be there.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't want to be there for the reasons Tina has said.
But there was a bigger
I've got to be.
She
We're on
doesn't-
out of time.
she
Kids
doesn't want
saw
to be
hope in them. And then the hope got taken away, and that's why the royal
you know
family
what?
is
If you
big
trash
again.
your family in public in the way that they've done for so long,
Thank you,
eventually
sir.
any family would go, that's it.
Exactly.
Drawbridge down,
What are you
done.
saying?
And that's sadly where we are. Incredible that he's here, Harry, and he's not going to see his
We're
brother
also-
or his father.
I'm just holding up Ed's
Well,
book, which
the only thing I will say, the only thing I will say about that is this family has never been a touchy-feely family. I mean, you know, they never rush to family reunions except at Christmas, Easter. You know, this is not a family that is all over each other at the best of times.
Yeah.
And quite obviously, Harry's completely alienated his family, and it's done. I don't quite understand why, you know, English coverage is constantly about, and he comes to England and he hasn't seen his family.
Yeah.
No, they're estranged.
No, I
They're
agree.
not going to
Listen,
see each
Tina,
other. No one's going to rush to see each other.
I totally
you know.
agree. We've got to leave it there. Tina Brown, lovely to see you. Great to see you, Tessa. Ed Owens, After Elizabeth, Can the Monarchy Save Itself? Actually, a really interesting book about the future of our monarchy here. Does it have a future? How long is that future? I hope it does. I think it will.
I hope.
But work to be done by King Charles. He's doing a great job, but work to be done in reshaping now the monarchy in his image for what he wants for us and the country. Great to see you all. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, let's even talk about this. What is Tina saying? So if her son or her daughter, so whether she loved them or not, shared information, private information to the public about things that is happening in the family, she would be happy. Is that what they're trying to say? Because obviously people seem like, seem too comfortable to be like, well, they weren't loved in the family, so I mean they had to so it's not a bad deal or not big of a deal for them to share private information of private conversation in public or for their book, like make it make sense. It's saying England rejected Meghan. They did not reject Meghan, because if they do, she would not have married there successfully. They would not have allowed it, but they did allow it. So how did they reject her? They did not reject her. She rejected herself, because when she wanted the princess and the prince charming, the lifestyle, she want the lifestyle so bad, but not the job, not the duty. If not, why she not marry from America? After all the other marriages that she had, she would have stayed in America to marry. But no, she came to England to marry. But England reject her. Like, see the victim mood they are trying to repackage and sell. Please, let's even talk about Suits. How many people are watching Suits because of Meghan? Do you think people will go and watch Suits because of Meghan? But let's be honest, people did not watch it because of Meghan. Even me, when I watched Suits, if not for this Harry and this thing, Meghan, I did not know her, because her role was not that important. Let us be real. So what are we saying? And yeah, they are not even important in Hollywood, because there are other people, big names, other places or ones that are important there. So who do you think would trust them? Or who do you think would trust people? Let's just be serious. Or let's even just say it within ourselves. If you have a friend who's betrayed you before, you would even not want your friend to come 2 inches close to you, or even 3. But no, the royal family should be the ones to forgive them and bring them close. From where? For what, Kwanu? For what? What is to say they will not do it again when they at the slightest opportunity? Come on now. But let's be truthful to ourselves. The thing that something that we know we cannot accept. Why are we forcing other people or telling other people to accept it? Because we know for our very church mind, if somebody betrayed us before, if somebody sold our private conversation or tells out our private conversation to the public or even to somebody else, and we eventually find out, we know that for the love of God, we will not be able to trust that person again. We will not even want that person to come close to us again. But no, because it's the royal family should automatically forgive Harry and Meghan and bring them close. Are they children? They are freaking adults. They know what they were doing. So what is to say when they bring them close, they will not do the exact same thing again? Once bitten, twice shy. And we as regular human beings, we know. So why are we deceiving ourselves with this? Why? These people are freaking adults. They are not kids. If it's a child, you know it's a child. But this is an adult. For 40 years. See, don't let me say, I have 40 years. 40. And you know the saying of 40. But this is an interesting conversation regardless. Let me know what you think. Do you think the royal family is still going to be standing, or the monarchy is still going to be standing? For me, I hope that that the monarchy still stands and continues the legacy. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment down below. I'm sure tons of people have interesting things to share. I really love to share that. You can share other useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.